Jobs in animation and game design. Three jobs in animation are 1. A 3D modeler, 2. A flash animator, and 3. A storyboard artist. Who is a 3D modeler and what do they do? 3D modelers create characters and environments for video games and 3D movies based on concept art. They also create images and modeling for websites, graphic designs, animations, film effects, simulations, special effects, etc. To create the model's surfaces or skins, they paint and wrap 2D textures onto a 3D mesh. This is known as UV mapping. To be a 3D modeler, it requires first and foremost great communication skills. It also requires familiarity with animation techniques and an expert level knowledge of 3D design and animation tools. It's also required that you have good visualization skills and the ability to take feedback and make changes as required. A 3D modeler is responsible for creating and managing digital assets and to create textures and UV maps. They're also required to rig models and character for animation and work with artists, animators, and programmers to execute projects on time, which is where communication skills come into play. They're responsible for optimizing, refining, and correcting modal geometry, and to interpret concept art and sketches to create virtual characters, environments, and props. Another job in animation is a flash animator.
Flash Animator. Flash Animator creates special effects for films, computer games, and other electronic media. They oftentimes work in teams to research upcoming projects, develop storyboards, review deadlines, and development timelines. Key responsibilities. Their key responsibilities include compiling the designs and development of animation projects. So this is coordinating with designers for obtaining their specific requirements and developing animation shots accordingly, coordinating with art directors, preparing detailed storyboard layouts, sketch, and other visual. Required qualifications and skills. The basic qualification required for being eligible to obtain a post as a flash animator is an associate's or bachelor's degree in animation. One also needs the other skills like organizing skills, effective oral, verbal, and written communication skills, and a creative imagination. Next, we have storyboard artist.
A storyboard artist is an individual who takes a script or just a concept and turns the word into a visual story. It is an important role because storyboard artists are in control of how others perceive the project. All different members of the production and development team look at storyboards for reference. What exactly do storyboard artists do? Storyboard artists draw scenes explaining the story. They are visual storytellers. They don't need many words or dialogue to tell them the story. In many cases, the rest of the production or development team will also influence the storyboarder's methods. In addition to visualizing the scenes, the storyboard artist will need to describe camera movement. Whenever creating a storyboard, there are a large number of tools at your disposal. A lot goes into storyboarding. Some of the best storyboarding software of 2018 are Studio Binder, Shop Pro, and FrameForge 4. Careers in the field of game design. The careers which will be highlighted are software developers, audio engineer, and video game testers.
Software developers. What do? They create and maintain programs and applications used on operating systems. Key skills they obtain are familiarity with computer languages such as Python, familiarity with operating systems such as Windows, and ability to work in a team environment. They frequently consult with other developers, programmers, and customers. They are often relied upon to train new software developers. Of expertise, we have data structures and algorithms. Data structures are used for the arrangement of data. Algorithms perform the manipulation of the data, such as searches. We have languages. Program languages are used to create the software or speak to the computer about what the developers want a program to do. Applications. An application software developers designs the programs and writes the codes to make the computer do the task. Platforms. A platform is the general environment in which applications are designed to run. So, examples would be a cloud platform, Android, or Microsoft Windows. The next game design job we have is audio engineers.
Now, an audio engineer is an individual who creates sound effects to support games' actions while providing necessary audio. What is it like being a sound engineer for video games? Sound design is often an overlooked aspect of game production, but still plays a vital role. This is because the overall feel of a video game relies heavily on the engineer's ability. The audio engineer is responsible for adding realism to the game world with sounds. This includes blending dynamic sound effects together and ambient sounds and background music to bring alive the game world. Requirements. The audio engineer must frequently communicate with game designers to access the game and type of audio it will require. In creating sounds, the engineer typically shifts through libraries for source material, which will then be layered across to attain the perfect sound. Audio engineers require extensive knowledge of both audio equipment and software needed to process the effects, create sounds, and mix an entire soundtrack in order to accomplish a perfectly seamless audio that immerses the player and moves the storyline and the game along.
Video game testers. These are persons who work for video game companies with the task of thoroughly testing games to ensure they are free of bugs, glitches, and any other potential problems. Perks of being a video game tester. First, it's the option to work from home. Secondly, you get to interact with all the latest video games before anyone else. While you can't really call it playing video games, you do get the chance to use new games that others may not experience for years. Thirdly, many people use game testing as an entry into the gaming industry, as it can lead to higher positions in game development and design. Requirements for being a game tester. Probably the most important attribute is a foundational experience with video games. Knowing video games, however, is just the start. The ability to write in a clear and effective manner helps you describe the glitches and how you found them. This gives developers a clear path to addressing the issue. You don't have to be poetic and colorful, you just need to be clear and concise. You will have to recreate the specific sequence that led to the glitch. Finding a bug can be simple, but recreating the steps to reproduce the result can be a challenge. Aside from our skills and abilities, personality traits also come into play. A high-quality game tester will have a strong knack for details. A good game tester has to spot tiny details and glitches that are so small the average player will never notice them. Game testing also requires a tolerance for repetition. You may have to play a level over and over again, performing every task, interacting with every character, doing all the possible actions to ensure they all function properly. A good game tester will also have to be a team player and have a strong work ethic. The ability to meet deadlines and work independently will also contribute to a long video game testing career. So, that concludes our presentation on jobs in animation and game design. We hope you learned something, and if you did, give the video a thumbs up.